Do you think we sold more dental last year than we are this year?
Yes.
Do you think we sold more cancer earlier this year and last year than we do this year?
Yes.
So there's obviously some reasons, like the hip with Medicare Advantage, of course. But so I think that there's something that happens in the sales cycle of an organization as it evolves, where sometimes people have something going and it's working really well, and they abandon the pitch for like a shinier new pitch. Like, oh, well, now I want to do this. It's like an evolving thing where they feel like they're learning more, and sometimes they end up shooting themselves in the foot, and they end up selling less than they were before. And I think that that's happening some, where we're probably selling more Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage plans than ever, but we might be losing more cross sales on the back end than ever before. Another part of that, of course, and this is incremental, is I think we have more, maybe less turning 65s right now than we did last year for some reason, in comparison. But the major reduction was, I think most people are not using those bundling, principles where they're saying, here's the savings. I'm going to show you how to capture it, which you all know if you have somebody that's paying $250 a month for a supplement, and you're taking them to $130 a month for the same supplement, they have $120 a month that you can capture with something.
Or you want to get a hold of them on
But
this?
if you give them the price first
Yeah, I have their number.
of just the supplement, it's harder. So I think that's one thing people aren't doing correctly, and it's because it's not a system. If you've watched the bundling course, I talk about it. Making sure that you load up the benefits that you want and tell them what the total price of that would be, get them to agree to that price, and then break it down further. By the same principle, if somebody's turning 65, using those sheets that we have that show that's very helpful. Another one now, when you have somebody paying $200 a month for a supplement and they're going to a zero premium MAPD, well, now we're doing a pretty good job on the hips there, on selling the hips. I think we could do better. I think we don't, sometimes we harp too much on zero. And of course, the TV commercials don't help because they say zero all day long. But you could really load that up, and health shouldn't get in the way of at least a dental, vision, and hearing policy, because they're guaranteed issue. So anyway, so the principle I'm getting at is sometimes in anything, you're doing something that's working really well, and then you reverse course to focus on something else. You end up not doing as well because you've abandoned what was already working really well. There's got to be a principle for that. I don't know, shiny object syndrome or something like that. But people tend to have a process that's working, and then as it evolves, either through laziness or trying to figure something else out, they end up losing money in the interim because they're not working really well. When you first started selling, you were cross-selling probably more dental and cancer than you are now. Of course, you're doing a lot of hips now with MAPDs, but maybe not as much cross-sells with.
My thing is I'm trying to hurry up and get them out so I can get to the next one.
Yeah, and in this process, it's definitely like that. What's interesting though is this entire year, we've cross-sold less than we did last year. We've sold more overall applications, but I think we cross-sold less than we did last year. Some of that's because of the turning 65 difference, but some of it I think is when you're inundated with turning 65s, you get used to cross-selling, and when you're used to cross-selling, you cross-sell more. So you're like in that mode, and you're practicing it, and you get good at it. And then when you're out, you quit trying to bring it up as much, or you forget and you go straight into the pitch. So the certain cross-sells, now obviously in every single scenario, I have a bad problem of assuming whether someone's cross-sellable and deciding whether I'm even going to pitch them from the forefront. Now, part of me thinks I'm really good at deciding who not to waste my time with, but I'm probably missing some cross-sells from not bringing it up. Now, in AEP, it does become a battle of time management, especially when you're in here and you're dealing with the volume of craziness. But even like when I'm shopping somebody's drug plan, like a guy came in yesterday complaining because he was on a WellCare $77 plan that he didn't even know how he got on. And not because it was $77, it was a drug plan, but because he went and got his shingle shot and it was $43, but his wife's plan, who's only $23.90, she had to pay $143. And so I got so into explaining that, you know, she was saving $600 a year on her premium and she takes no drugs. She'd be better off paying $143 for that shingle shot than paying $600 more on premiums. But there's no reason he should be on that $77 WellCare plan. If you take somebody from a drug plan like that and you bring them down to a $20 drug plan, you could cross-sell a cancer policy in there with the difference too. A lot of people don't even think about that, cross-selling with the difference on drug plans. I've done it before where you cross-sell a cancer policy and you don't talk about it as part of the drug cost. One of the things your drug plan's not going to do a really good job on is if you get diagnosed with cancer and you have to take oral chemo or radiation medication, you're probably going to need some extra money to help pay for that because your drug plan might pay for it, but you're going to have a significant out of pocket. So anyway, all I'm really talking about this morning is trying to think about the cross sell. If you are, no matter what, those cross sells are huge because like a lot of people ask, is it worth it to sell dental? Well, what's your CPA for a client? If it's costing you, $150, $200, $300 to get a client, then writing the dental can offset completely the CPA, making you zero CPA, so then you're 100% profit on your Medicare Advantage plan. So when people ask that, I think they're just like terrible at math or they're not very intelligent or something. Of course it's worth it. Then the cross-sell can be huge for you. And if you work in the office as an LOA agent, you're getting paid 50% of our level on those ancillary products. And our level's pretty high. So those are some of the fastest ways to, increase your bottom line is cross-selling those products. The continuity product would be the Medicare Advantage and the Medicare Supplement because it's long-term residual, even maybe drug plans. But to increase that bottom line today and this year, it's those cancer policies, life, dental, hospital indemnity. So anyway, that is the most applicable thing. And now